All right, so let's get started. So I have two blocks of different sizes because we'll be doing the pigeon kind of early on and then later. So you might want different heights of support, and then also a belt or strap, which we might or might not get to. All right, and then here we are, sitting in Sukhasana with the crossed legs. And using the arms behind, giving a little lift up. Getting space between the vertebrae, space in the hip sockets. Maybe a little shifting and squinging. And then slowly releasing with the arms, letting the hands rest on the knees. Inhale and exhale, arriving a little more fully in your body with your breath. Just feeling where you are today, balancing the effort and the ease. Noticing anything that needs to be noticed and letting go of those things that don't need to be noticed. And then reaching out wide through the collarbones, through the fingertips. Breathing the arms up, inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. And let's do that twice more. And we'll take a twist to the right. So I'm being the mirror at the moment. Inhale, lots of space. Exhale and twist. If you want, maybe adding the half binding. We've been doing a lot of that lately, it seems to me. You can add that in if you like that half binding with the right arm, wrapping the hand around to the left hip. And then back to the center, changing the cross of the legs. And we will twist to the left. Inhale and exhale. And maybe with the half binding, with the left arm wrapping around. And coming back to center. And let's come forward and over. Inhaling into the back of the body, exhale. exhale, deepening yourself over. And then coming up, unfurling that spine vertebrae by vertebrae back up on top of the sitting bones. Everything drops into place. Inhaling and exhaling. And let's come around onto all fours, and we will do a few cats and cows. Rounding up and lengthening out. And then keep going on your own timing. And once you've got that ripple going with the breath, maybe little additions start to come in, a little forward and back. Maybe the going around to the side and around. The squeaky floor I'm on is coming through on the sound too much there. All right, and a few more breaths in these cats and cows. And then a pull back into child's pose, resisting with the hands so that we get a little stretch through the shoulders, through the armpits. And then letting yourself settle back, softening the arms. Couple breaths here. And then coming up in downward facing dog. Maybe using the wider feet if you like, or hip distance, either one. I'm going to go for wide. Big yawn in the back of the legs, walking the dog or anything else you want to do. And finishing up with whatever you're doing, finding the best downward facing dog you can do at this moment. And let's lengthen forward to the plank, long and flat against the ceiling. Shoulder blades back to the sitting bones, out the heels, tailbone pulling forward through the top of the head. And then let's pull to upward facing dog, letting the knees touch down. And then with that little support from the knees, press the tailbone down a little more, maybe lift the upper chest up a little more. Pull the outer edges of the upper arms back. And then we're going to just ooze ourselves to the floor here. Rolling down. And we're in more or less a position for the cobra. If you need to adjust the hands, go ahead. Maybe just see what happens if they're not in their usual spot. As we lift up in the small cobra, trying to work the back muscles more than a big push. And lengthen down. 2 more small cobras. And then 1 more cobra-like position of your choice. Maybe moving the hands forward so you can do a spacious cobra. We're doing the Sphinx. Something with a little bit more lift and stretch on the front of the body. Keep reaching back through those legs as well. And then calming down, and we will peel ourselves back up to downward facing dog. And if you would like to go through the vinyasa smoothly, you can do that. You could even do it 2 or 3 times fast. And then there we all are, breathing in downward facing dog. And looking between the hands to jump or step forward. Into the concave back, halfway up. Folding over. Taking a few breaths here in the forward bend with as much bend in the knees as you want, maybe using a block under the hands. And then we're going to roll up to standing. So pull the abdominal muscles up into the spine. We're going to roll up slowly. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then a back stroke with the arms, swooping them up like the front body. Yawn for a moment. Pressing the arms down long through the top of the head. Drop the chin, rolling back down. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And a concave back, halfway up. Feeling that extension. And folding over. And then we'll come all the way up to standing, extending up, or rounding up again if you would rather, into the front body yawn. And pressing the arms down, long through the top of the head. And coming back over. Big lift up. And diving over. Concave back, folding over. Stepping back with the left leg into the long low lunge. And then bringing that left knee down, coming up in Jayasana, the kneeling lunge. Inhaling up the front, exhale, pouring down the back. And if you've heard me say that a million times, take a moment to see if you can engage with that action just a little more. And then let's twist. No, wait, not going to twist. Sorry. Bringing the arms down, side bending toward the right side. Bringing the left arm up overhead. And then a big inhale, pulling that left shoulder back. We're going to swoop on the right diagonal down and hands to the floor. Lifting the left knee, straightening that left leg. Holding here a couple breaths, or if you want to try a swoop up into the high lunge, you could do that. Or maybe not. And if you're up, coming back down, I'm going to bring that left knee down again, and then Jalayasana, coming up, arms overhead. And then twisting to the right, arms parallel to the floor. And then hooking the left arm over, pull a little wider, stretching into it, bringing the right hand around to Namaste. And Namaste in the center, hands to the floor, straighten up the left leg, step into the plank, through the Vinyasa, any version. And downward facing dog. And let's lift our right leg up. Reaching long through the right heel, reaching down through the left. And then through to the lunge. Coming up in either of the warrior one, or you could use the high lunge if you'd rather. I'm going for the warrior one. That will be our default. And once again, inhaling up the front, exhale, pouring down the back. Really doing that. And let's interlock the fingers behind, rolling the shoulders out, and lifting the chest to lift the chin. Deepen that lunge. Arms coming up overhead. Namaste, down the center and into the floor and into the pigeon. Walking that right foot across, right knee forward. Whatever version of the pigeon you're ready for here. If you've got assorted heights, maybe using the higher heights, or use my block a little higher there. And here we are doing that cobra action. Up the front, down, back. And then coming forward and over, sleeping pigeon. And come up. We're going to swing the left leg around and we're just going to come right up in the forward bend. Pressing the feet into the floor, pulling up the legs and out the sitting bones, pouring down through the top of the head. And let's do the roll up and down and then extend up. So rolling up, maybe just a little more quickly than before, but still slowly and mindfully. We arrive up on our feet. Arms take a swoop back and up overhead in that front body yawn for a moment. They press down as the top of the head lifts, the chin drops, rolling yourself back down. And then concave back. Really feel that extend, reaching the collarbones forward, pouring over. And then extending up, or whatever knees you want to use, into the front body yawn. Pressing the arms down long through the top of the head. Inhale and exhale. Let's take another couple of breaths. All right, and then here we go with the left leg. Big lift up, or with the left side, I should say. And diving over. Concave back, folding over. Because we're actually going to move our right leg first as we step back with the right leg into the low lunge. And then bringing that right knee down. And Jayasana, the kneeling lunge. Inhaling up the front, exhale, pouring down the back. Really making that energetic circle. And then bringing the arms down, and we'll side bend up and over to the left. Right arm over. And big inhale, pulling that right shoulder back, reaching on the diagonal left down and around to the center. Straightening up that right leg, pressing back through the heel. Maybe just holding here or coming up in the high lunge for a few breaths. And if you're up, coming down. Bringing that right knee back down and Jayasana again. And then we'll twist to the left, arms parallel to the floor. Hooking the right arm over, stretch a little deeper. And bringing the left hand around to meet the right. And Namaste in the center. And then into the floor, straighten the right leg, stepping to the plank. Through the Vinyasa and eversion and downward facing dog. And lifting our left leg up. And through to the lunge. Coming up in the warrior one, or maybe the high lunge. Making that circle up the front, and then as you come down the back, make sure the back goes down and that front leg kind of goes a little down and forward. Bridge pose action there in the pelvis. And then bringing those arms around, and we'll interlock the fingers. Rolling the shoulders out to lift the chest, to lift the chin. And arms up overhead. Namaste in front. And into the floor. And into the pigeon with the left leg front. Using whatever size prop you might want to use, or whatever version of the pigeon you might want to use. And doing that cobra action. Inhaling up the front, exhale, pouring down the back. And then coming forward and over sleeping pigeon. And nope. And we'll just swing the right leg around and come up onto our feet in the standing forward bend. All right, here we go. They're rolling up. Very mindfully trying to feel every vertebrae as you come up. And then swooping the arms behind, little back stroke up and over into the front body. Dawn. Pressing the arms down as you lift through the top of the head and drop the chin to roll back down. And then a concave back, really feeling that extension out and pouring back over. And then we'll extend ourselves up, or any other means if it's better for your back, as we come up to standing into the front body. One. And around to Namaste. And taking a few breaths here, keep staying there. Keep staying there, a few more breaths. All right, just one more breath now. That was probably the hardest part of the whole class. And coming over. Big lift up. And diving over. Concave back, folding over.
And then let's do our vinyasa to the kneeling upward facing dog again. So jumping or stepping back, some kind of chaturanga maybe, and to upward facing dog, letting the knees touch down. And then taking a little weight into the knees as you press the tailbone down more. Pull the upper chest forward, pull the outer arms back. And then we'll melt ourselves down to the floor. And reaching back through the toes, coming up in the small cobra, wherever you are, or adjusting if needed. And calming down. And let's bend the knees, reaching long through the toes, bend the knees. And reaching back for the ankles. And we will bow pose. Pouring down the front of the thighs, out the knees, and maybe a little turn and up through the feet as well as we lift. And then really feel those muscles working on the back. We're going to try to hold this shape more or less as we slowly release the ankles with the hands. So the legs will probably come down. Release the hands, reaching back through those fingertips though. And then letting that go. And let's heel ourselves back up to downward facing dog. And you could go through a vinyasa smoothly here if you wanted, or just breathing in the upward face or downward facing dog. And then looking between the hands to jump or step forward. Into the concave back, halfway up. Folding over. All right, let's roll again. Let's just pick up our rolling up and down pace a little bit more. Rolling up, 2, 3. Swooping the arms back, front body yawn. Press the arms down, lifting through the top of the head, rolling down, 2, 3. Concave back, folding over, and extending up into the front body yawn. And bringing the arms down, long through the top of the head. And then coming over, big lift up, and diving over. Concave back, folding over, we step back with the left leg, and turn to the elephant rider. Pressing out with those arms against the inner thighs. And so you're scooping the tailbone under or sticking it out and back. It can be either one, whichever seems more useful, maybe doing a little back and forth. I think you can kind of see that in the mirror part on the screen there. Want to look, I'm doing it. It's not very big. Or swinging. All right, and then we're going to come around to the temple pose. So a little feeling of dragging the heels into the center, getting that strength on the back of the legs as we straighten the legs, coming up to the three-pointed star. Lift a little more
And then pulling the knees wide, pulling the elbows wide, keep going up through the top of the head. Pressing those outer knees back as much as you can. Relaxing the face and the jaw and the shoulders. And then pouring forward and straighten the legs. Taking a few breaths with the outer rotated legs here. And then pressing those heels out to turn the feet to parallel. Prasarita Padottanasana. And then lengthening out, we're going to take a twist to the right toward the front of the mat. So I'm not the mirror anymore, though we're going to do right and left, so it won't really matter. As we twist to the right toward the front leg, reaching up through the right hand, reaching down through the left shoulder. Pulling that right shoulder and arm back, pressing the left shoulder a little forward. And then bending that left knee. Doing a little pull back to the back of the mat toward the left, even as you're resisting it, pressing that twist toward the front. And then back to the center, straighten the left leg. And lengthening out, we'll twist to the left toward the back of the mat, reaching up through the left arm, being very spacious as we start. Pressing the left shoulder and arm toward the front of the mat, pressing the right shoulder toward the back. And then bending the right knee, doing a little pull toward the front of the mat from that outer right knee and thigh, adding yet another pull and resistance into all of this. And then back to the center. Couple deep breaths here. And then turn it to the right lunge back toward the front of the mat. And we will continue on our way, stepping back to the plank, through the Vinyasa any version, downward facing dog. And let's lift our right leg up. Dog at the high fire hydrant. And through to the lunge, warrior number 2, the lateral lunge. And then making sure that right knee is tracking over the foot, pulling wide and flat. And dancing warrior, bringing that right arm up And then we'll keep going, bending the right elbow, reaching the right hand toward the center back, and getting hold of that elbow with the left hand. And then make sure you didn't lose the lunge, pulling that right inner thigh forward through the inner knee. And letting that go, pressing the arms flat for a moment, and then left arm up and over. Turning down to the low lunge and into the pigeon on the right. Maybe your lower height block or prop, maybe you're ready to be on the floor, whatever version of the pigeon for this time. As we inhale up the front and exhale, pouring down the back. And then coming over in the sleeping pigeon. Inhale and exhale. And calming up. And we'll just swing the left leg around to come up in the standing forward bend at the front of the mat. All right, and here we go with our rolling and extending, but rolling a little more quickly, though still mindfully as we roll up. 3, 2, 1. Arms swoop back and up overhead. Pressing the arms down long through the top of the head, dropping the chin, rolling down. And concave back, halfway up. Folding over. And extending up. Pressing those arms down long through the top of the head. And then coming over. Big lift up. And diving over. Continuing concave back, folding over. Oh, stepping back with the right leg. And turning to the elephant rise. Here we are doing the same thing, but it's not going to be the same thing because we've already done it once. And also sometimes it makes a subtle or maybe not so subtle difference that you know and have a sense of that left leg being the front of the mat. And then coming around into the temple pose, pressing the feet into the floor, straighten the legs into the 3-pointed star. Lift a little more, keep lifting as you pull the knees wide and pull the elbows wide. Every breath in action as we're holding here. Inhale, a little expand, feeling exhale, a little stronger in the center. Maybe the sitting bones reach down a little more. They might not necessarily move in space more, but they can reach down more. And then pouring forward and over, straightening up those legs with the outer rotation for a few breaths. And then parallel feet, pressing the heels out, maybe turning the toes in, but I like press the heels out because it kind of widens and does that feeling of pressing the outer legs out and away. And then lengthening out, and let's twist to the left toward the front of the mat. Big spacious twist, really straightening the arms long through the top of the head. Pressing that left arm back, right shoulder a little forward, maybe a little bend in the right arm, and then a bend in the right knee. Doing all those pull downs and pull ups. Press to the front, press to the back. And back to the center. And then we'll go to the right, extending out, twisting right, finding lots of space to start. Finally, pressing the right shoulder back toward the front and the left shoulder toward the back of the mat. Maybe bending that left elbow and then bending the left knee. And back to the center. Then turning back to our left lunge toward the front of the mat. And continuing on our way, stepping back to the plank through the Vinyasa, downward facing dog. And let's lift our left leg up. Bending the knee dog at the high fire height. Through to the lunge. And coming up in the warrior number 2. On the left. Make sure the knee tracks over the front. And then dancing warrior, bringing that left arm up and over, and then it keeps going, bending the left elbow, reaching the hand for the center back, getting hold of the left elbow with the right
And then make sure the lunge didn't get lost. And then extending the arms out again for a moment. And the right arm, the back arm swoops you down to the lunge and to the pigeon on the left. And arriving here, whatever this version of the pigeon is. Inhaling up the front, exhale, pouring down the coming forward and over, sleeping pigeon. And coming up. I'm not going to come up to standing. Just swinging that right leg around. And let us make our way down to the floor. Looks like we won't have quite enough time for the belt today. But of course, if you have more time and you want to take a stretch of the leg around in the belt, you can do that. Otherwise, here we are on the floor with the knees bent. We're going to bridge pose, but take a few moments. Inhale and exhale. Letting the weight of the body settle into the floor, but staying present. And then we'll come up in the bridge pose, scooping that tailbone up, peeling up off the floor. The interlocked fingers underneath again. Breathing here. And rolling down, landing on the floor. Let everything melt. Take a few moments of stillness. And considering, is there anything else you need or want to do? Or maybe not. Just sliding the legs to Shavasana and continue to melt into the floor. And sinking a little more and a little more inside yourself. And moving the fingers and toes, getting circulation going. Stretching the arms up overhead. And then knees. Gently make your way up to sitting. And sitting in any comfortable position with a long and spacious spine. Taking a few more moments, sitting quietly inside yourself. Namaste. Thank you for coming.